guys, and welcome back, and today I'm going to be filming the mid-year check-in tag. So I've seen a lot of people doing the mid-year book freakout tag around YouTube. I know a lot of people did it last month. I wanted to wait until July so that I could wrap up the first 6 months in totality, just in case I read anything just at the end of June, and so therefore I am now filming this tag. I also was going to film the mid-year freakout tag until I saw that Jade over at Bedtime Bookworm did the check-in tag, and I kind of like the questions on that one a little bit better. So I will link her video down below, as well as the original creator of the tag, who I believe is Harriet Rosie. And so without further ado, here is my 2019 mid-year book check-in tag. Also, I am going to be doing like a full in-depth stats video about what I've read for the first half of the month. That will also include kind of my spring wrap-up as well. So look for that video coming in just a little bit. But I thought this would be a fun tag to kind of summarize some of that stuff if you wanted just the highlights. The first question is, how many books have you read this year? And I have read 25 books so far this year. I did move my Goodreads goal up from 50 to 53, so I am technically a little behind track for that, but I moved it up because I've added in some graphic novels that I've read. But I'm pretty proud of the number of books that I read this year. It has definitely increased from last year. I think I only read 32 or 36 books last year, so I'm already kind of approaching that number, so I'm really excited about how much I have read this year so far. Question number 2 is, what is your favorite book of the year so far? And that would have to be The Way of Kings by Brandon Sanderson. I really enjoyed this book. It's a high fantasy book. It is the start to a massive series, and it is just a detailed and intricate story. I'm so excited to continue reading this series and continue reading it for years, as Brandon is still in the process of publishing these books. I just thought the characters were really well done, the world was really well built, and I've dipped my toes into some other Sanderson books this year and last, and it was really fun to see him really shine in his epic fantasy series, and I kind of vlogged my experience reading it, and I had a really great time reading this book. Question 3 is, what's the most disappointing book you've read this year? And that would be The Gilded Wolves by Roshani Chokshi. I was super excited for this book and super hyped, and unfortunately it just didn't quite live up to the hype that I had set for it, which was a good lesson. I kind of learned to temper my hype a little bit about books that, especially new releases that were coming out. I wanted just a little bit more from the characters and from the world building. I do have a full in-depth spoiler review for The Gilded Wolves, so if you want to check it out, I will link that as well. But I had really high hopes for this book, and unfortunately it just kind of left me in the middle. There are parts of it that I loved, and there are parts of it that I really didn't like, so it ended up being a 3-star read for me. Question number 4 is, what genre have you read most this year? And the answer to that is fantasy, which is no surprise. I've read 9 fantasy books already this year. However, the category that came in second place was contemporary, and that surprised me. I read quite a few contemporary books last month, and a couple kind of sprinkled throughout the rest of the year, and I haven't read a lot of contemporary since I was in high school, and I was really surprised by the contemporary books that I did read this year. Some of them were hard-hitting, some of them were light and fluffy, and overall I really enjoyed myself reading all of them. So I am excited to kind of explore more of that genre potentially later this year as well. Question number 5 is to name a new favorite author that you've discovered this year. And I'm going to say 2 answers for this one. The first is Christina Lauren, who I read 2 of their books last month and really enjoyed both of them. I am slated to read another one of their books this month. However, it's supposed to be a buddy read, and the people who have started it have not been very excited about it so far, so I might pass on that one this month and give a different one of her books another try, maybe in a few months or so. I read The Unhoneymooners and Josh and Hazel's Guide to Not Dating last month, and I really enjoyed them both. I liked the light-hearted and fluffy contemporary steamy romance part of it, and it just was a good palate cleanser from some of the darker themes that I was reading. And the other author is Bridget Kemmerer, who wrote A Curse So Dark and Lonely. I have heard wonderful things about this author from Murphy over at Murphy Napier. And I have another one of her books, which is actually a hard-hitting contemporary that I'm really excited to dive into. Hopefully by the end of the year I'll get to that one. But I just loved her writing style. It was really easy to read and her characters were super relatable, and it was a book I thoroughly enjoyed. Question number 6 is, what is the most surprisingly good book you've read this year? And my answer for this is A Heart in a Body in the World by Deb Coletti. I've heard good things about this book, but I was really surprised by how moved I was by this book, and how even though it was a really sad book, I really enjoyed my time while reading this book. This book was really powerful, and I just think that a lot more people should read it, and I think that it's kind of underrated, and it really took me by surprise, so I think if you want to give it a try, you definitely should. Question number 7 is, what are your favorite and most anticipated releases of 2019? So my favorite book that I've read so far this year that was released this year was A Curse So Dark and Lonely by Bridget Kemmerer. It is a fantasy story about a girl from our world who gets sucked into a fantasy world and is a Beauty and the Beast retelling, but kind of spins it a little bit. It's fast and fun and easy to read, and I really enjoyed it. And my most anticipated release that's still coming out this year is Seeker by Kim Chance. This is the sequel to Keeper and will be the end of the Keeper duology. It is coming out in September, and I have an arc of it that I'm planning to read very soon. I did get to read an earlier draft of it, and I absolutely loved it. I'm really excited to see how the story has progressed and to wrap up this duology. Question number 8 is, what is your next big priority for your reading? So I'm really hoping to participate in the Newt's Readathon next month. I really want to get a bunch of books read for that. I've had such a fun time participating in the Owls Readathon both last year and this year, and I'm really thrilled to participate in the Newts. I did participate in the Newt's Readathon last year, but I didn't do so great, so I'm hoping to do better this time and really get myself set up for a fun August of reading. It's also my birthday month, so that makes it extra special. Question number 9 is, what has been your bookish highlight of this year? And I would definitely say that starting my YouTube channel and getting more involved in the bookish community has been a highlight for me. I have really enjoyed getting more involved in buddy reads, both through Patreon and just on my channel, and getting to know people better through comments and even on other people's channels, and finding new channels to subscribe to and finding new subscribers. It's been such a fun time putting myself out there and getting involved in the bookish community, and I can't wait to meet more people. So if you're new here, drop a comment and let me know. I would love to say hello. And if you've been watching for a while, thank you so much for watching my videos. I really appreciate it, and I appreciate the support. So the last question is, who do you tag? And since most people have either done the mid-year book freakout tag or some sort of mid-year tag, I'm not going to tag anyone, but if you haven't done a tag yet, or if you want to do this tag in particular, I highly encourage you, and you can go ahead and say that I tagged you. This was a fun tag to do that I felt like wrapped up some of my highs and lows for my reading year, and it was fun to talk about some of my favorite and least favorite books. So thank you guys all for watching. I hope you have enjoyed my bookish content. If you have any suggestions, let me know down below. Otherwise, happy reading. Thanks for watching, and I will talk to you again soon. Goodbye.